how's it going? I am checking in, holding space, and, took a little trip today. Needed a mental escape, getaway. Been having a pretty rough couple of days, and, thought I would make the most of it after my awful nervous system dysregulation I experienced in the last couple days. Went ahead, got into nature, got into a cemetery, took some really great pictures, picked up the flowers, said some peace for the residents of the cemetery. Some would say I'm a little morbid. I don't know. I'm not. I enjoy the solace and the serenity that is found in the cemetery. Maybe you find solace and serenity somewhere unconventional. So yeah, I just wanted to check in today. It's been rough, and I'm holding some space for you. I hope you're doing the same for me. But I did want to acknowledge the fact that trauma rears its ugly head in the most inconvenient times, as we spoke about previously. One thing I notice is, it's like amnesia. You forget just how much it can weigh you down, wreak havoc on you, and just this dark force can just come in for the attack, and you have to be aware. Prepare yourself. Might take a day or two, it might take you a moment, a place to find a level head space, and that's okay. It took me about 3 days this last go around, and I hadn't experienced an episode to that magnitude in quite a while. I did the best I could with it, and with my learnings that I acquired in therapy and through, self-help. And I'm very much a self-taught kind of person, and I enjoy understanding and analyzing my brain when I'm in those moments. So sometimes you got to step out of that, though, so you can participate in the real world, because it's not the same as your safe space, your healing space. And anyway, I just had some feelings drag out, and they were pretty awful, and I got triggered by some things that were pretty uncomfortable, and found myself covered up with a bath towel, sitting on the bed and looking for answers. I was, seeking something. I've been journaling heavily for the last couple days, even though I haven't posted. I've been journaling, and some of those journal entries are pretty dark, and that's okay. They are reading more like a story that I'm letting out, and a type of dark poetry, and that's just where I was. I just let it be, I accepted it, tried to protect myself from going any darker, any deeper, and that was hard. So when I found myself curled up on the bed, covered up with a bath towel, I knew my system was dysregulated. I could feel my breath separate from my heart, and my thoughts were racing, and it was very noisy. in my head. I knew that I was not in a good place, and I had kind of peaked at that point. The tiny stressors, medium stressors, and extra large stressors have all built up to this point, this breakdown. And for me to find, some regulation, all I could do is lay there. And I started to utilize YouTube. That's exactly what it's there for. Utilize it to help you. And you can fix your car. You can, learn how to build a tree house. You can also work on your mental health with YouTube. It's really awesome. So, I put in a search in my search bar, how to regulate your nervous system. And I watched this great 13-minute video. I will post a link here in this video and description. And it was just really insightful. I think I felt validated more than anything, and I think I needed to feel validated, honestly. Understanding that children exposed to violence, domestic violence, as well as addiction and other traumatic situations really imprint on that child. And here you are, you could be 20, you could be 40, you could be 60. You still have that imprint, and you're still that child somewhere inside of you. And taking care of that child is why we're healing. We're taking care of the inner child so that we can be ultimately the best we can be. If somebody couldn't do it for us, we can do it for ourselves to some extent, and we can become better for it. So understanding how this can really severely affect adulthood, and not just in a mental way either. Sometimes when your body, your physical being, is in a place that doesn't align with your spiritual being anymore, or from the get-go, if you're experiencing those traumatic situations that I just spoke about, then your body can start to have physical ailments as well. So trauma doesn't only dysregulate the nervous system and cause mental health issues and things like that. It can also branch out into the physical being, and you can end up with a broad spectrum of autoimmune disorders. I've developed Cushing's syndrome, which is a hyperactive or malfunctioning adrenal gland system. So, as my doctor told me, my endocrinologist stated that, you're living in fight or flight. And I was like, oh, well, of course I know that. I mean, I've lived that way my whole life, and I understand that it's, not settling on its own. So I try to work on it. She says, no, it's physically altered your being at this point. So your adrenal glands are not functioning properly. The cortisol level is extremely high in my body, and that can lead to cardiovascular issues, stroke, overweight, numerous health issues. And that's what I've been dealing with. I have an EKG scheduled for next week. I have a CT scan of my abdomen for my adrenal glands. Those are on top of your kidneys, by the way. I had no idea. But those pump your cortisol, and that's great, she said, if you're running from a bear. That's the analogy she gave me. She said, you're running from a bear every minute of your life, and that's not how you're supposed to live. And that hit me really hard. I understood that. I was like, wow, not only have I been running from this bear since I'm 4 or 5 years old, my earliest memories, but I'm also also now running from the extended branches of the bear, the physical health issues that it has caused. So we need to take care of ourselves. We need to take care of our children. We need to take care of the future. We don't need a bunch of dysregulated, sickly beings running around on this earth. I mean, we can do better. And if our parents couldn't do better for us, then we will do better for ourselves and for someone else. And if you don't have children, do better for the community. Step in. This has been a really rough couple of days, and I did not understand how it built up and built up and built up. And then I got in one situation where someone expressed to me that I was doing something that wasn't right, or that they didn't agree with, and it was me requesting my own mental space, saying that I needed to get away for a minute. I didn't want to have a conversation that would result in reactionary behaviors, trauma responses. I didn't want to do that. So I wanted to escape for a little bit, and it seemed to cause an issue. So that led me to be probably triggered to the 10th degree, where I was already there, and that was just like, boop, off the edge. So I made the choice to go back to the situation. Why? I don't know. But as soon as I recognized this pattern, this feeling, I should say, in my body, my nervous system recognized that old behavior, and it was like, you are doing this to appease someone else. You are not doing what you want to do. As a grown adult, you are making the choice to go back into the situation. And it was too late. I already returned, but I caught myself, and I decided, hey, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk right now. I don't want to talk to anyone. And I'm going to take some time to myself. So I just went into a small space. I went into my little office nook, and I edited photos and just wrote some dark thoughts, listened to some pretty dark music, and felt relief. I also ate something. I don't know if you're ever paying attention to that part of your body when you are in heightened state of trauma response, but sometimes if you eat something, you can help to regulate your system, bring things down, tone them down a bit, especially something with carbs, protein, just make your body focus on something else, basically. And I wanted to do that, so I did. I ate. I went to my room, and that's when I found that video, and that's when I recognized exactly what was happening. And I was dysregulated, and I let my body take precedent and elevate all of those trauma signals, those response signals that I know are not healthy. So after, maybe a couple of hours of just alone time and the validation I felt through that video, taking a look at myself a little bit more and understanding how I had felt that feeling before, previously in my life, and I decided I was in a better state of mind. I was able to have a discussion without emotion, without impulsive, irrational decision making. I was able to not hurt another person with my words, or my anger, because that is something that we do in the moment. It can be very, very, my therapist told me my tongue is a sword, and that before I speak, my tongue is a sword, and before I speak, I need to stop and think. And sometimes that's just enough. A few moments is all I need to not say the wrong thing that like jeopardizes a relationship, ruins, a situation, hurts someone's feelings, things like that. And I've really taken that to heart. But also, you can forget that. And I heard that again yesterday when I was listening to that video, and just getting that validation. And sometimes you need to hear those things over and over again. They'll sink in eventually. They become second nature if you really take them to heart and you really put the practice in. And I feel like I've been doing that for a couple years now, and I've also really ruined some relationships and really done some self-harm and impulsive behaviors that I'm not proud of as well, because I didn't know those things yet. So now I'm aware, and once you're aware, you can always make a better choice. So yeah, not only does the violence and the addiction and the chaos contribute to a mental decline, but it also contributes to a physical decline. So pay attention to your minds, pay attention to your bodies, and hold space for one another. Till next time.